Hello and welcome back to the Penguin International podcast. Every single thing you touch today, your coffee, your phone, the clothes you are wearing, travel through a system most people never think about until it breaks. Where we sit down with the people who build, run, and rescue the system that keeps the world moving. I'm your host, Dipanshi. We are going deep in the world of the supply chain and operation, the invisible machine behind everything visible. We have got a guest today who has lived through the chaos, the real disasters, the real recoveries, and real multi-million dollar decisions made under pressures. We welcome our today's guest who has spent over 13 years building, running global supply chains from D2C and third party logistics, operations to cross borders, e commerce, and international expansions. Please welcome Deepak Raghav in our podcast.
Well, thank you, Dipanshi, and Penguin International for having me on the podcast. Uh, as you rightly mentioned, I've spent over 13 years building and scaling supply chains across e-commerce, D2C brands, cross-border logistics, and operations.
Yeah, moving ahead with the podcast. Can you tell us, Raghav, for the people outside this industry, what would you simply explain what supply chain is, how its operation works, and what they actually do?
Sure. See, Dipanshi, in a very, very layman language, I will try to explain what supply chain is. It's not as easy as, or maybe as complex to understand the meaning of it. Uh, so supply chain is actually everything that happens before a product reaches to the customer, right? So when you order something, it reaches to you the next day, or maybe the next day, right? Hundreds of decisions have already happened before it actually reaches to you, right? Where it was manufactured, where it was stored, transported, how it has to be delivered. So all these decisions which are made before a product reaches to the customer is actually the whole supply chain, you know. And unfortunately, if everything works perfectly, nobody notices supply chain. But the moment something is delayed, unavailable, or suddenly everybody realizes that how important is the supply chain. So,
Yes.
if I have to summarize, supply chain is one of the very few functions where success is invisible, but failure is very visible.
Yeah,
But it is
that's
very,
true.
very important. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. What's you can say the biggest supply chain disaster you have personally experienced or handled, and you can share one of the incidents where everything is going to be wrong, as you said already, and how your team and you recover and managed hold the situation.
Sure. So see, in terms of disaster, Dipanshi, in supply chains, disaster disruptions are inevitable. Especially when you have very major sales coming up, right? Sudden spikes in demand. Uh,
Yes.
you know, it always happens. Disasters, disruptions always happen. See, one of the biggest challenges that I personally handled, while managing large order volumes, when inventory, warehouse capacity, courier networks were all under pressure. Uh, you know, the way we tried to handle it, we stayed calm, identified the bottlenecks very, very quickly, prioritized customer impact, and communicated transparently across all the teams, right, in the company. And the
Okay.
biggest lesson that we learned is that supply chain is actually not only about avoiding problems. It is about how quickly you recover out of those problems. And all
Okay.
those small steps, helped us a lot.
Okay. Are you talking about the small steps? Any decision that saves many time, or you can say millions, or you can and share any operational improvements and the decisions which has a really big impact on your business.
See, one important lesson, Dipanshi, that I have learned, is that the biggest savings don't always come from negotiating lower freight cost with the transporters, with the freight companies. They actually come from designing a smarter supply chain that's actually sustainable, right? And so I'll give you one example, right? During my tenure, so one fine day we realized that we were using faster, more expensive transportation because we did not have enough inventory positioned in the right warehouse, right? However, soon we realized that we are like burning a lot of money because of the premium
Mm.
transportation that we were using. So
Yes.
instead of focusing only on transport, we actually strategically increased inventory holding in the key warehouse, giving ourselves a little more, buffer in terms of planning, which actually allowed us to shift a significant volume to a much more economical transportation mode, without actually affecting product availability or customer experience. So we actually chose a little bit, slower transportation mode, kept a little more inventory in the warehouse, and hence made millions of money. Right. So it's also about choosing the right service as per your needs.
Yes. And of course,
Right.
time management is also a thing in your criteria.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. See, operations is really a game of compounding very very small improvements.
Correct.
So we have to be, sometimes microscopic, scopic, and also sometimes macroscopic in viewing things, right? And then taking
Oh.
decisions.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so very interesting. So, and also one thing is booming in all the industries is the AI. So, if we talk about the AI, so in what we people hear AI in supply chain, what do you or they usually imagine, and how different is that from the reality? Like AI in supply chain.
Sure, sure. See, people generally, when AI comes, people generally imagine robots, replacing
Correct.
human beings,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Taking over the humans.
Yeah.
But in my view, the reality is actually AI is helping people make better decisions, right? Uh, because of the AI, the demand predictability is has significantly improved, right? It helps preventing stockouts in our warehouses, right? It optimizes routes for us, right? Which is the better route that we should take when we do the logistics.
Okay.
It actually has started identifying delays, and obviously a very very simple use case that it automates repetitive tasks, right?
Correct.
Which
Yes.
actually gives a lot of time for humans to strategize, make bigger decisions. So uh, I mean, human judgment is still essential, I think, because
Correct.
supply chain deal with uncertainty every day, right? uh, if I have to say it like this, that AI actually makes good operators faster, right?
Correct. Yes.
Not obsolete.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's again a very insightful thing. So yeah, one more thing we could ask how you are saying like we manage people, we have lots of by the time you have lots of inventory with you. So how do you manage people when operations are under extreme pressures?
Absolutely. I think it's a very, very important question that you asked. I think everything that we are doing, right, we have to do it together. And
Correct.
managing teams is a very, very underrated skill that we generally avoid, right? It's actually people who move things, right? Everything else is just a carrier
Yeah.
to move things from here to there. So, see, managing teams under pressure, I would say operations generally, it is ultimately a people business, right? During pressure situations, uh, teams actually don't need their leaders to know every answer. Rather, they expect their leaders to stay calm, figure out a
Yes.
solution, sit together, figure out a solution, and then take a mutual decision, after taking
Yeah.
feedback from every team member. So I particularly focus on transparency, clear priorities, and empowering people to make quick decisions on their own. Sharing feedbacks without hesitations, and then mutually taking a decision in the benefit of organization. So I think blaming people never solves operational issues, right?
Yeah.
And trust built before a crisis is what helps teams perform during a crisis.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so Deepak, if you had one prediction for supply chain in 2030, what would it be? And how do you see AI reshaping global supply chain over in the next 5 years?
See, I believe supply chains will become far more predictive than reactive, right? AI certainly will, forecast disruptions before they happen. Uh, I hope so. It does. You know, warehouses will become more automated. Uh,
Yeah.
Decisions will become very fast. I mean, it will become faster because of the real-time data. uh, Sustainability will become competitive advantage over the others. Uh, but I think despite all the technology, supply chain will always remain people driven because judgment and relationships cannot be automated. Right?
Correct.
AI will certainly help. However, people will only run the AI right more efficiently. Technology will certainly change the tools. People will still make the decisions.
That's a wrap on today's conversation. Thank you so much, Deepak, for joining us today and sharing those insights with us. And thank you so much. If there is one thing I hope we all our takeaway is this, that supply chain is in the boring back office function. People assume but it's a judgment under pressure. I would believe like it. So thank you for tuning in the Penguin International podcast. We will be back soon with another conversation from the people building the future of work, operations, talents. Until then, I'm signing off. This has been Penguin International. Thank you so much.